Today, we're going to talk about something that's, honestly, a little frustrating. We're diving into why so much valuable knowledge, so much amazing research just seems to get lost before it can ever make a difference in the real world.
I mean, really think about it. You have these incredible minds making these fantastic discoveries, but so often those insights never actually reach the people on the front lines who could use them. They get published in a journal and then, poof, gone. It's almost like it never even happened.
Okay, so the material we're digging into has this perfect name for this problem: research debris. And that metaphor is just spot on, isn't it? It's like an old satellite. It's still up there, floating in orbit, packed with amazing technology, but it's just circling. It's not sending any signals, it's not doing anything. And that's exactly what happens to great ideas when they get trapped up there in that intellectual orbit.
So how in the world does this happen? What are the big, systemic reasons that cause this huge pileup of intellectual junk? Let's get into it.
You know, at its heart, the problem is this massive divide. You've got academics on one side, like university professors, and practitioners on the other. Think business managers or engineers. They're basically living in two completely different worlds. One world runs on theory and getting published. The other runs on relevance and needing to solve a problem, like right now. Their goals, their timelines, their whole reason for doing what they do, they just don't line up.
And look, this isn't just a hunch or some kind of stereotype. It is a huge, measurable gap. A massive analysis over 25 years found that the things academics were writing about and the things professionals were actually dealing with were about 70% different. For the most part, they're not even talking about the same stuff.
And this great divide creates some really specific problems. First off, you've got those misaligned incentives. Academics get rewarded for publishing in these super niche journals, not for, actually making their work useful to anyone outside of academia. Then there's the communication breakdown. Even if a manager wanted to read a study, it's probably behind a $100 paywall and written in language that's almost impossible to understand. And finally, the whole process is often flawed. Researchers sometimes treat people in the industry like lab rats to be studied, not like partners to solve a problem with.
Okay, to make this all really hit home, let's look at a real-world example. We're going to talk about a genuinely useful study that is, as we speak, on the fast track to becoming research debris.
So here's our case study. It comes from a hospitality management journal. Researchers went out and studied 176 hotels all across Spain to see how a specific style of leadership actually affects a hotel's bottom line. I mean, this is exactly the kind of stuff the industry should be hungry for.
And the leadership style they were looking at is called servant leadership. The name kind of says it all. The main goal of the leader is to serve their team. So instead of that top-down, I'm the boss approach, these leaders are all about the growth and well-being of their people and their community. The whole idea is that if you take care of your team, the results will follow.
It's a really compelling idea, right? Especially in an industry like hospitality that's all about service. So what did the data from all those hotels actually prove?
Well, the findings were incredibly practical. The study found that hotels with servant leaders were way better at adapting to changes in the market. Why? Because that leadership style builds stronger relationships, or social capital, both inside the hotel with staff and outside with the community. And get this, the effect was even more powerful in family-run hotels. I mean, these are things a hotel manager could literally start using tomorrow to make their business better.
But, and here's the kicker, despite how incredibly useful these findings are, this exact study is on a direct path to becoming forgotten. It's about to become research debris. How?
Well, here's roadblock number one. This is a direct quote from the paper's summary. You know, the part that's supposed to grab your attention. It's written by academics for other academics. It's dense, it's technical, and honestly, it's a bit of a headache to read.
Seriously, just imagine you're running a hotel. You're juggling staff schedules, angry guests, a broken ice machine. Do you have the time or the energy to sit down and figure out what socio-emotional wealth is supposed to mean for your business? Of course not. This kind of language creates a massive wall, a knowledge barrier.
And then you see the other problems pop up too. The journal it was published in? Yeah, that's behind a paywall, so most managers can't even read it if they wanted to. And the researchers who did all this great work, well, their job was done the second the paper was accepted. They get rewarded by their university for the publication, not for, say, running a workshop to help hotel owners actually use their findings.
So now you see the whole picture. We've got a fantastic idea, backed up by solid proof, that is almost guaranteed to just drift off into that intellectual orbit and be forgotten. So is that it? Is there any way to save it?
Well, the good news is the answer is a big, resounding yes. We can actually rescue this stuff. We can turn this debris back into something that has a real impact. We don't have to just accept that this divide exists. All we have to do is build a bridge to connect those two different worlds.
And there's actually a pretty clear roadmap for how to do it. First, something called deep partnering. That means researchers and managers work together from day one, so the research is actually relevant from the get-go. Second, we need knowledge brokers. Think of them as professional translators, people whose whole job is turning academic speak into practical tools. And third, researchers need to use practitioner-centric frameworks. Basically, present their ideas using the language and models that managers already use every day.
So let's go back to our hotel study. A knowledge broker could take that super dense paper and turn it into a simple one-page checklist, or a 10-minute training video, or a guide called 3 Ways to Make Your Hotel More Adoptable. And just like that, boom, the knowledge barrier vanishes. The idea is ready to use. The debris becomes impact.
But, fixing one study at a time is kind of like bailing out a sinking ship with a teaspoon. To really, truly solve the problem of research debris, we need a much bigger, more fundamental change to the whole system.
So almost every academic paper has a section at the end called Limitations, where the authors talk about the study's weaknesses. It's usually pretty passive. The big idea here is to replace that with a new section, Pathways to Impact. Instead of just listing what's wrong, researchers would have to actively lay out a plan for how they're going to stop their own work from becoming debris.
And that's what's so powerful about this. It completely changes the game. It forces a huge mindset shift. Suddenly, making your research relevant isn't an afterthought. It's a core part of the science itself. It's no longer someone else's problem. The responsibility is baked right into the process from the very start.
And that really just leaves us with this one big final thought. Just imagine, what if every single person doing research for every paper, for every project, had to answer that one simple question? How will this work avoid becoming debris? How much more progress could we make if we just stopped letting so many good ideas get lost in space?